guys, welcome back. I'm here with Tim again. Tim,
hello.
Good afternoon. So how are you doing?
How are you doing? Yeah, very good.
Thank you for coming. We were discussing, well, we're discussing lots of things. We discuss things on an almost daily basis.
We do. I'd say
some things that can be discussed publicly, some things that can't be discussed publicly for legal reasons. But what we were looking at today was this idea of an arc, this idea of things that you may not have taken an interest in years ago, that you now do take an interest in, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And you've brought with you two watches that this week have caught your eye that suddenly have become of interest to you.
Yes.
That it's fair to say in maybe years gone by haven't?
Yeah, well, yes. So the two watches I've got are two different examples of an Explorer 2, Rolex Explorer 2. I know you're not really a Rolex man. I've had lots and lots over the years, still have a couple, and I really like them for what they are, for the tool watches that they are. But the Explorer 2, particularly the very modern ones in 42 millimeters, are way too big for me. And I'm not a spelunker.
You've been desperate to get that in all day.
Which apparently means sort of cave exploration or something.
Do we have any splunkers out there? That's my thought. If there's any splunkers out there, please do get in touch in the comments below and let us know. Have you ever worn a Mqueen splunking?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure people have worn a Mqueen.
Well, I bet they do. I bet they sell like hotcakes and spelunking weekly.
Well, actually, splunking, I guess, came to it unfortunately got assaulted by Elon, right? But do you remember the kids that got stuck in the cave?
Yeah,
the footballers, right?
Yeah.
You know, those were splunkers, and I was really proud that they were.
I think we're a little off topic.
they were all Brits, right? Most of them were British guys who were absolute experts, even though Elon called one of them
yes.
But those were splunkers, so those are cave divers.
Yes.
Right, and that's what or at least one of them was to develop for initially.
Yeah, exactly. So the first Explorer 2, 1655, was designed for that use, which is super niche, which is why back in the 70s and early 80s, these watches sold in very small numbers. Because effectively what you're doing is you're having a sort of tool watch, which has one hand that's on the hour hand is, the normal hour hand is on the 12-hour rotation. And you have this big orange, very obvious, very fluorescent 24-hour hand. And that enables the user to understand whether it's nighttime or daytime outside, because you're on a 3-day exploration of a cave and you haven't seen daylight and all of that sort of thing.
Common misconception that is not a GMT hand.
It's not a GMT hand. It was a GMT hand when they evolved that reference to the next reference, the 16550. And now, from that point onwards, it's become quite a versatile watch, which makes its popularity that much better. And anyway, so the modern reference where they are at the moment, the 226.570, and the 215670, they, for me, don't work. They might be great as tool watches for legibility, but they're too big, the bracelet's huge, they're heavy. For me, it's too much. I'm more of an oyster, perpetual, minimalist Rolex kind of guy, occasionally a Pepsi GMT. But there are some references in the back catalogues of the Explorer 2 that we've had in at Subdial recently, and I've just looked at them and thought, well, maybe I need to actually start paying attention. So I've got these here.
And I've spotted them just before. I've had a sneak peek, like a kid on Christmas morning. I've popped into the downstairs and had a look. Yeah. They're good examples. They're really interesting. So the dial's particularly lovely. Let's have a quick look. Go on. Let's have a quick look.
So, I mean, I don't know how much to go into the design of this, but I suppose the 1655 stands out as a very unique offering in Rolex history across the annals of production. It has a really interesting dial with rectangular indices and midpoint indices, which really helps legibility. I think a lot of people love that bright, bold orange on a black background. It's super cool. But not many people were going to be using that 24-hour hand. And so it didn't sell very well, but that has helped second-hand values. These are like £20,000 for a good one still. And this is just lovely. And I'm sort of looking at it and, it kind of goes with my sort of khaki green suit, actually. I think it would wear actually really well with an outfit like this. It's just a cool thing. My shirt cuff's a little bit long, but
What are you
but
looking
get
for?
a sense.
What are you looking for here to make this an exciting example of one of these?
Well, what I like about it, obviously, people love unpolished cases. I actually think it's a tool watch and a little bit beaten up and maybe polished once or twice. It doesn't bother me, but I'm not the purist that that goes down those rabbit holes and makes sure that it's hardly been breathed on. I don't care for that. And this one has lost a little bit of the black paint in the bezel, and I actually quite like that because maybe, who knows, someone's been spelunking in it.
Let's hope so.
And let's hope so. But
The orange itself, though, that varies quite significantly from reference to reference.
Oh, it does.
That's a particularly punchy orange, I'd say.
It is, yeah. And maybe that hand's been replaced, but it looks like the centre tritium plot is about balanced with the dial.
Yeah.
And so it's gone that sort of custardy yellow. I just think it's great. For me, it's got as much charm as any other vintage Rolex.
I love it because it's so not the Rolex you would expect to see.
No.
I love it for that. Mqueen was not seen wearing one. He's never been seen wearing one, but it's called the Mqueen, right? It's the Steve McQueen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Subdial have once been accused of putting the word Steve McQueen next to a listing, and we soon took it down because of the backlash that goes with it. Yeah, but
That's brilliant.
learned that the hard way.
It's brilliant. Fantastic.
I really like it. So
I do, and I must admit, I've never owned a Rolex, but I've been tempted by that.
I
that particular reference.
genuinely interesting. And then the next reference, which was a transitionary reference, was the 16550. So a 5-digit reference that was a significant step change to the 1655. The design language completely different. The case size has gone up from 39 to 40. It looks just like a 16570. I'm boring you with numbers.
almighty.
I know.
Coming out
but
hot
that was a reference that lasted well over 10 years of production, and had lots of different variations with solid end links and superluminova, whatever. But what people love about this is that it was made, particularly the polar dial ones, were made with a very rudimentary white that is now starting to oxidize, and people call it a sort of panna cotta dial. But really what I like about it is that it just has such an even patina that it's a very cool thing, and particularly with silver hands, which is
The markers have disappeared into the dial.
Exactly.
They just have no
so
separation.
on later references, they had black outlines in them to help the legibility. So they learned a lot from this reference, which is why they got rid of it really, really quickly. And I think it's a very cool watch, particularly in this condition. The condition's exceptional. The bezel's all original. You've got slightly different font. It's fatter and wider than all others. But it's just cool.
Price point?
Oh, 16 or 17.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's really, really cool. I do, and for years it's been overlooked, and now I'm starting to look at it and think, well, I've been missing out really, because
I've heard the Rolex arc, and as I say, I've not been on the arc myself, but the arc of getting into watches, getting into Rolex.
Yeah.
First up, then you find out there's a lot out there, and then you explore and you spend a lot of time in other brands, and then you come back to you spelunk, you explore one and you explore two, and then you come back to Rolex. Is that fair? I mean, that's probably what you've gone on in this sense.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I've got to say, the thing about I was handling a friend of ours GMT the other day. Is it 1675? The old GMTs, the
yeah.
1675.
4 digits.
Yeah, 4 digits. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Very thin.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I recognise, and that's the one thing I would say. Even that profile there is just so much more elegant.
I mean, that's similar era to this 4-digit 1655. That's around the same time. This is probably a little bit later than that 1675, but they're very cool and they age very gracefully. I think they become more interesting watches than certainly the modern ones, which don't age at all. Like the modern Rolex with superluminova.
Perfect product in some ways, isn't it?
It's perfect, and it's great for owning for a lifetime. But if you were to pass a 50-year watch on to someone in your family, that will look exactly the same as the day that you bought it. Whereas this and this have a life of its own, and that's where it gets really interesting.
And the likelihood of seeing another dial exactly like that.
Yeah.
In the world of Rolex, which is high volume.
Yeah.
To see another one like that is going to be is not something you'll see every day. So
exactly.
Tim, well, thank you very much for enlightening us.
Pleasure.
That's really, really interesting. And as much a learning for me as it is hopefully for everyone out there, because really exciting.
Well, they're coming to a Subdial near you soon. So
they'll be available. They'll be available online. Boy, thank you as always.
Yeah, pleasure.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.